You didn't say goodbye. You packed your things in the afternoon. Said you had somewhere to be. Left your keys out on the counter. Didn't say a word to me. I stood there in the doorway watching you walk out. Thought you'd turn around at least, but you didn't look back once. I kept waiting for something that never came. You didn't say goodbye. You just let it end, like it wasn't something we had to pretend. You didn't say goodbye. You just walked away, like all we had together wasn't worth the words to say. I replay that moment sometimes, trying to understand. Was it over way before I ever had a chance? Or did we both just let it go without a fight? Thinking maybe silence would make it easier to leave behind, but silence don't make it easier, it just stays. You didn't say goodbye. You just let it in, like it wasn't something we had to defend. You didn't say goodbye. You just closed the door. Now I don't know what we were anymore. I would have taken anything, even if it hurt. At least I'd have a reason. At least I'd have the words. You didn't say goodbye, and maybe that's the truth. We were already gone before we ever knew. You didn't say goodbye, and now I understand. Sometimes a quiet ending is how it always ends. You didn't say goodbye, and I didn't stop you. Say goodbye, and I didn't stop you. Thought you knew I left my jacket in your car back in early June. You said you'd bring it by someday. I said no rush, it's cool. We talked about 100 things, but now what mattered most. I figured you could read my mind like you always almost. I didn't say it out loud, I just let it stay. I thought you knew the way I felt about you. I thought it showed in everything I do. I thought you knew I didn't have to say it. Now I'm standing here wishing I said it. There were nights we stayed up late, sitting on your floor. You lean your head against my shoulder like you had before. I almost said it more than once, but I let it slide, thinking there'd be time enough somewhere down the line. Funny how you wait too long, then it's gone. I thought you knew I felt about you. I thought it lived in every little thing we do. I thought you knew I didn't need to say it. Now I'm holding on to words I never gave you. I remember that night in your driveway, engine running, you didn't stay. You said, "I'll see you soon," and I almost said it too. But I just smiled and let you go, like I always do. I thought you knew, I swear I thought you knew. I thought somehow you felt it like I do. I thought you knew, but I never told you how. And that's the part I can't change now. I thought you knew, but I never said it. You said you'd call me when you got home, around 9:15. I stayed up longer than I should, watching every light. Phone sitting on the table, screen lighting up the room. Every time it wasn't you, I told myself too soon. I didn't think too much about it, at least not at first. That night you didn't call, didn't feel like much, just another quiet evening, nothing out of touch. That night you didn't call, told myself you would. Didn't know right then that it meant more than it should. Midnight came and went slow, TV still on low. I picked up my phone a couple times and put it back down low. I almost sent a message just to check if you were fine, but something stopped me halfway and I let it pass by. Guess I didn't want the answer if it wasn't what I'd like. That night you didn't call, nothing really broke. No big words, no goodbye, no reason that you spoke. That night you didn't call, but something changed in me, like a quiet kind of truth I didn't want to see. Everything before, all the little times I felt you pulling back some more. That night you didn't call, now I see it clear. It wasn't just one night, it had been that way for years. That night you didn't call, and I didn't ask you why. Some things don't need answers, they just tell you when it's time. That night you didn't call, and I let it be. I read it from someone else down in Miller's bar. He said he saw you the other day, didn't say where you are. He talked like it was nothing much, just passing through. Then he said something offhand that didn't sound like you. I laughed it off at first, like it didn't land. I heard it from someone else. You didn't tell me yourself, like I was just a name you forgot to say. I heard it from someone else that you moved on well. Guess I wasn't even worth the truth straight from you. He said you've been doing fine, got a place out west. Said you seem a lot more settled now, said you look your best. I nodded like I already knew, like it wasn't news. But something in the way he said it didn't sit right through. It's not what I heard, it's how I heard. I heard it from someone else. You didn't tell me yourself, like it didn't matter if I ever knew. I heard it from someone else, and it says enough about what we were and what we weren't. I wouldn't have needed much, just a line or two, not even something honest, just something from you. I heard it from someone else, and now I can tell it wasn't just the ending, you were already somewhere else. I heard it from someone else, and that says it all. Some stories don't fall apart, they just never get told. I heard it from someone else. That was all I needed. I heard it from someone else. That was all I needed. We were sitting in your car that night, your engine running low, streetlights shining through the glass, nowhere left to go. You looked at me like you had something right there on your mind. I almost said what I was feeling, but I let it slide. It was right there between us, we both felt it then. We almost said it, we almost crossed that line. Just one word away from changing everything that night. We almost said it, but we let it go. Now it's just a moment, only we would know. You turned down the radio like it got too loud. Funny how the quiet felt heavier somehow. I could see it in your eyes, you were thinking too. we both just played it safe, like we always do. Guess we thought there'd be a better time somewhere down the road. We almost said it, we almost let it out, but we held it back, like we had our doubts. We almost said it, but we stayed the same. Now there's nothing left we can go and change. I still think about that night more than I should. How one small moment could have changed it all for good. We almost said it, and maybe that's enough to know we felt something, even if it wasn't love. We almost said it, now it's all I know. Some things don't fall apart, they just never grow. We almost said it, but we didn't. You were sitting next to me on that worn-out couch, TV playing in the background, but we weren't watching much. I said something just to fill the space. You said yeah and smiled. We were right there in the same room, but it felt like miles. Nothing loud, nothing wrong, just something missing all along. You were right there, closer than before, but I couldn't reach you like I used to anymore. You were right there, nothing in between, but it felt like something couldn't see. We used to talk for hours, now it's just a few. Every word feels careful, like we're choosing what to lose. I tried to ask you how you felt, but I held it back, 'cause I already knew the truth in the way you act. Silence is enough, even when it's quiet. You were right there, looking just the same, but I couldn't find the way we used to be again. You were right there, still within my reach, but I don't think you us apart, just 1,000 little changes we didn't catch at the start. You were right there, and that's what hurts the most. Not that you were gone, but I felt you go. You were right there, and I let it be. Yes, we don't always lose someone when they leave. You were right there, but not with me. kept telling myself I had time to spare. Didn't think the moment would just disappear. You were right in front of me more than once or twice, but I kept on waiting for the perfect time. I thought I was being careful, now I see I was just slow. I waited too long, that's the truth of it. Kept holding back words I should have said. I waited too long, now it's clear to me. Some chances don't come back once they leave. You gave me all the signs I chose not to read. Thought if it was real, it would wait for me. You stopped leaning closer, you stopped staying late. I noticed every change, just a little too late. Funny how you see it all when it's already gone. I waited too long, now there's nothing left, just the sound of things I never said. I waited too long, and I can't undo all the time I lost standing next to you. I thought I had tomorrow to figure it out, didn't know tomorrow would turn me around. I waited too long, and that's on me. Not the way you left, but the way I didn't speak. I waited too long, and I understand. Sometimes letting go starts in your own hands. I waited too long, and that's enough. We were sitting in the same old place where we used to talk for hours. Now it's just a table and two drinks, losing all their power. You were looking at your phone more than you looked at me. I kept trying to find the words, but nothing came out clean. It wasn't a moment, it wasn't a fight. It was already over before we said goodbye. Nothing left to hold on to, nothing left to try. It was already over, we just didn't see. Sometimes things don't break apart, they just quietly leave. We kept going through the motions, like it might come back, laughing at the same old jokes, but something always lacked. You stopped asking how I was, I stopped asking too. We were both both just standing still with nothing left to prove. We didn't lose it all at once, it faded out of sight. It was already over before we walked away. No big words, no closing lines, nothing left to say. It was already over long before that night. Sometimes endings don't arrive, they're already behind. I kept thinking we could fix it if we just held on. Didn't know we were holding to something already gone. It was already over, and now I understand. It's not always something you lose, sometimes it just ends. It was already over, and that's alright. Not everything we carry is meant to last a lifetime. It was already over, we just took our time. Packed a bag and set it by the door. Didn't say much more than I had to. You were sitting there like before, like nothing here was coming unglued. I walked past you in the hallway light. You didn't move or say my name. I thought maybe you'd try to stop me, but you let it stay the same. I waited just a second longer for something you might say. You never asked me to stay, you never said a word. No, don't go, no way. Nothing I could hold on to. You never asked me to stay, so I kept walking on. Sometimes silence answers more than any reason could. I could have said to you if you gave me something back, but every door felt halfway closed, every step felt off track. I wasn't looking for a promise, just a sign you cared, but all I got was quiet hanging in the air. I guess I knew the truth already before I reached the drive. Let me make that choice, like it didn't matter if I left or if I stayed. You never asked me to stay, and that told me enough about what we had and what it wasn't. Wouldn't have needed much, just a simple line, something I could turn around for, one reason to rewind. You never asked me to stay, and now I see it clear. It wasn't just that moment, you were already not here. You never asked me to stay, and I won't ask you why. Some things don't fall apart, they just don't fight. You never asked me to stay, things to say back when it all went down. Words I kept inside my head, but never let them out. I used to run through every line like it would change something, if I could just find the right way to make it mean something. But time has a way of quieting it all. I won't say it now, it wouldn't change a thing. All the words I held back then don't need to mean anything. But I won't say it now, I've let it settle down. Some things don't need closure, they just fade out. I saw you once a while ago, didn't stop to talk. We both just kept on moving like we understood it all. There was nothing left to fix, nothing left to prove. Just two people passing by with nothing left to lose. And for the first time, it didn't feel incomplete. I won't say it now, I don't need to try to turn it into something that already passed me by. I won't say it now, that feels right. Not everything unfinished needs another line. I used to think I needed one last chance to speak. Now I know the silence says enough for me. I won't say it now, and I'm okay with that. Not every story needs a way to circle back. I won't say it now, I'll just let it be. Some things don't need words to set you free. I won't say it now, that's enough for